Hey, what is up everybody, it's Truth Chaos here, and today I have some hardcore domination gameplay on the map Exodus, or Exodus, however you want to pronounce it. And I'm going to leave you all with the entire gameplay, and the reason for that is because I actually want to tell my story on how I found my faith in God. Now, I've told this story before on my channel, but it has been quite a while since that video was put up, and at the time that video was put up, I had probably about 5 or 6 subscribers, so there's quite a lot of you that probably haven't heard this story. And I decided I wanted to share it again, and also my mic quality is a lot better than it was in that video. So, anyways, I hope you all enjoy. Keep in mind, I'm not telling this story to try to push God on anybody. I'm not one of those types of people. I just want to tell my story. I respect everybody and their beliefs. So just respect me for mine, and sit back and enjoy the story. So this happened back in 2012. At the time, I was single. I was 19 years old, and I was working at Arby's, like a dead-end job. Don't get me wrong, I loved working at Arby's. I had a blast working there. I loved the people I worked with. But I was at this dead-end job, and I just wasn't happy with where my life was going. I was depressed, in a sense. Now, I wasn't happy with where my life seemed to be going at the time, and I just wasn't happy. I felt very alone. Although I was always hanging out with friends and I was always with family and stuff, I just felt very alone, if that makes sense. So I remember one night I was sitting outside at my mom's house where I lived at the time on the back porch, and I was sitting there smoking some weed, and I decided I'd never really prayed before, but I decided that I was going to look up to the sky and talk to God. Now, I'd always believed in God, but I didn't know if I believed in God because I actually believed, or if it's because that's what I've always known. I grew up in a family that believed in God, but we weren't really a super religious family. We didn't go to church every Sunday or anything like that. So I decided, I looked up to the sky, and I can't remember word for word. Obviously, this was a long time ago when this happened, but I remember I looked up to the sky, and pretty much what I said was, God, I don't know if you're there. I don't know if you're listening to me. But I need help. I need help. I want to believe that you're there, but I'm not sure anymore. Can you give me a sign? Let me know that you're there. Let me know that you're listening to me and that you care for me. Now, I pretty much left it at that, and I just said amen and finished what I was doing and went on about my life. About 2 weeks later, it was July 6th, I went to work, and I closed, so I didn't get off till 1 o'clock in the morning, which would have been July 7th, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I got a call while I was at work from my buddy Joe, and he called me, and he was like, hey man, me and Kenny will come pick you up, and we're going to go over to Sam's house and party. And I was like, alright man, that sounds cool. So 1 o'clock rolls around, it's technically July 7th, and closing time rolls around, I get off work, and my buddy Joe and Kenny are there, and they pick me up. So we go, and to get to my buddy Sam's house, like my mom's house is on like the corner of this it's like on the corner of like this kind of main road, and you turn on that side street that she her house sits on the corner of, and you go down around the curve, and then you get to my buddy Sam's house from there. So when we was pulling up to my mom's house, like getting ready to take that turn, I thought about telling my buddy Kenny to go ahead and stop at my mom's so that way I could change out my work clothes. For whatever reason, I didn't. I decided, I'm just gonna stay in my work clothes. I'll just take off my work shirt, just stay in my undershirt and work pants. There's no point in getting on a clean pair of clothes to go mess up partying and stuff. That's kind of dumb. So I didn't say anything, and we turned and we went. And now about 3 or 4 houses down from my mom's house, there's this intersection where we didn't have a stop sign, but anybody coming through that intersection would they have a stop sign there. So I'm in the back passenger seat of the car, and as we're coming through the intersection, I look out the window and I just see headlights, and then bam, we got hit. And when we got hit, we went off the road, through a fence, or off the road through a ditch, through a fence, and then almost hit a tree. And we stopped probably maybe a foot away from hitting that tree. So I remember when it happened, it felt like it took a lifetime, but at the same time it happened so fast. It was insane. So when it happened, I remember I looked out the front windshield, and you know, the car, you could tell, was totaled. There was just smoke pouring out of the front of the car. And man, I remember my buddy Joe like busted the door open, then he climbed out, and then I climbed out behind him. And apparently there was this big group of people sitting down the street and saw the whole thing happen. And they came down there, and they was checking on all of us. Then I just heard this chick cussing out the dude that hit us. She was like, "You're fucking drunk, you piece of shit," and like trying to fight this dude. And everybody else was kind of pulling away, like, "Nah, you know, he's going to jail. Don't worry about him. He's going to jail." And so they called 911, ambulance, police. Everybody showed up, and my buddy Joe was like bleeding from like his ear, and then I was bleeding from the top of my head. And the only thing that was wrong with Kenny is he had like this big ass bruise on his arm from where I guess maybe his arm hit the steering wheel or something when we got hit. But so they made me and Joe go to the hospital. I remember the EMT lady, she was like, "Okay," she said, "Well, we're gonna take you to the hospital." I was like, "No, I'm good. And she was like, "No, you have to go to the hospital. You're bleeding from the head. We have to make sure you don't have a concussion or anything." I was like, "Shit, I don't want to go to the damn hospital." So they made us go to the hospital, and they put me and Joe on stretchers, put us in the ambulance, took us to the hospital, which is the only time I've ever been in an ambulance, and it was pretty weird. It was funny though too, because we were sitting there joking with the EMT guy that was sitting in the back with us. We was just sitting there like telling jokes and shit. It's pretty funny. But yeah, man, so they took us to the hospital, and they released us a couple hours later. My mom came and picked us up, and we actually ended up going over to my buddy Sam's anyways. We didn't actually party when we went over there. We were just hanging out and stuff and telling them about what happened and everything. And so they released us a couple hours later, like I said, and I got to thinking about it, man, the wreck and everything, you know. And when I got to my buddy Sam's, my buddy Kenny had this paper from the police, you know, like I guess they're like their statement or something. I guess he needed it for court or something like that. I'm not really sure, but on there he was telling us that the cops had told him that for the damage that guy did to the car, both vehicles, and for how far we went off the road, that they'd say that dude was at least going 65 to 75 miles per hour when he hit us. And I was like, what? Like, that's insane, dude. Normally, like, when you hear about stuff like that, like people getting in accidents like that, somebody usually ends up dead, handicapped, you know, brain damage. Something bad usually happens to the people who are in that situation. But here, all three of us we're fine. That dude that hit us, he's fine. I mean, he's in jail, but health-wise, he's fine. You know, none of us died. None of us, you know, broke an arm. We got out of there with barely a scratch and a bruise. You know what I mean? And I thought that was insane. Well, then I started thinking about it even more, and I realized that was my sign. That was God giving me my sign that I asked for. That He was letting me know He's there for me. And how I found this out is I started to really think about it one day. I was sitting there at home by myself, and when I realized that was it, was the direction that dude was going. Had he gone through that intersection about 7, maybe 8 houses down, there's a big ass ditch and woods. So had he not hit us, chances are he probably wouldn't have had time to stop, and he would have went through that ditch and into the woods and killed himself. So God gave me my sign to let me know He was there for me. Put me in a pretty bad situation, but kept me and all of my friends safe for putting us in that situation. Kept all of us safe, kept that dude safe, and stopped that dude from killing himself. And that's what I took away from it. So like I said, I'm not trying to push God onto anybody. You know, you believe what you believe. This is just my story. So anyways, I hope y'all found the story interesting. Let me know what you all take away from the story. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the gameplay. Hope y'all enjoyed the story. And I hope y'all have a great, safe, and wonderful day. and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.